Again, Katie McGivern, 2121 Collier Avenue. I looked up the League of Cities website for the convention. It explains things. Attendees engage in discussing specific problems with their peers, identifying solutions, and sharing ideas. This year, local officials from across the country will join to explore the future of cities, including trends and insights to help take their city forward. Well, I suggest if you want to save a couple $1,000, stay here and talk to us, and we can give you lots of insights on how to take our city forward. You don't have to go to Austin. If you don't like that option, maybe we, the people, can pick what classes and workshops you'll go to. There's a whole agenda. It's very nicely set out. Lots of workshops and regular meetings. So maybe, we can pick what we think you should go to. Before the conference, will you give us a report outlining your goals for the conference, what you hope to accomplish for our city? And after the conference, we'd also like to hear a report on what you accomplished and how well you think your goals were met. I think that as a city, this would be a good idea for us to learn what is being accomplished at these national conventions, because we don't go to them, but we would like to hear what you accomplished. Thank you.
Any other comment cards? Mr. Zerdy?
I think that's, ideas for anybody. I've been coming to these meetings for a long time prior to me even sitting up here. And once in a while you hear maybe a little report about a meeting or not, but most of the time, some of the things that get, presented to us when we're at a conference helps us make a lot of our decisions or bring a lot of ordinances that you've seen. There's probably was 40-some last year, and we're already, this past year, so a lot of these things have come from sharing a lot of ideas or hearing things from other folks. We're all on different boards. And again, welcome anybody. You don't have to give us an idea for a conference, but you can call, you can email, you can set up a meeting. All your ideas are all welcome. In fact, I relish ideas and more than complaints, but all ideas are fine. So, but I think, all of us that go to these things and you listen, just like the sister cities, there's a lot of things that you can learn that other people, we don't have to struggle and recreate things. So I'm sure if I had a chance, this conflicts with some of my activities too, but I would have liked to have gone myself, because there's no way that even if all 5 of us went, that we could cover all the information that's there and go to all the good information that's being spread out over that course of time. So I just wanted to say that, and I appreciate that you two take time out also to go and spend your time as well. And I look forward to hearing, because we do talk about these things and anything else. If you had any questions about them, then feel free, I guess, to ask us at any time.
Yeah. I think, we all give updates when we come back on certain things, but we can give more thorough updates, that's fine. I would love to share a lot of this stuff in depth if you guys are interested in it when we come back. We cut our budget in half or more than that, whatever, in reference to travel. So we don't go to all the same things anymore, because my one trip for the mayor's conference, I learned more in that conference and did more about infrastructure. That was all about roadway projects and all that kind of stuff. Learned more in that conference, but that conference to get there and to stay there is in Washington, and it's more expensive than others. So I get to take one trip a year to do that, and the contacts that we made through the lobby, through everything was so invaluable. It's been helpful this whole year round. So, but a lot of the little things too, there's so much good stuff that we bring back. If you're really interested in, call us to come and sit with us and show you all the resources, the samples, the stuff that comes back with us. Because some of those programs, it's like, boom, this project, share with Joan. And the CRA, boom, this project, share with William. Boom, there's a lot of stuff, and people are explaining how they successfully did things. Some of the conversations in between those meetings are the ones where some of the really good stuff happens, believe it or not, you watch how somebody achieved something in a program or did something in another city, and that's the stuff that, you know, that really, you get staff behind it, learning about it, and you're like, okay, and we've seen that come to fruition here in the last 3 years. Some really good stuff, and I have all my resources in my office too, so I'd love to sit down with you and show you some of the cool stuff that we've learned and that we're using. Commissioner Moroso?
And I too, I wanted to piggyback that, you know, we get so much out of it, and when I get back, I meet with staff for each department, what we've learned for those departments. Some of them they're already implementing, some of it is brand new for them. When I got back last year, I went online with an hour show, and you got all the information. We talked in depth. You're more than welcome, instead of, you know, calling us names and doing things, you're more than welcome to call me, meet with me. I'll be happy to talk to you one-on-one. But usually I find out what your thoughts and processes are based on, you know, being called rude on blogs, because, you know, nobody's called me, nobody's talked to me. Good night, Mrs. Anderson.
Commissioner Moroso, please keep it to the item, please.
No one has called me on the issue, nobody has addressed the issue. And again, if you want us to talk or take a stance on your behalf and attend a certain meeting, I'll be happy to do that. You know, we usually address and attend the meetings which address things that are going on in the city right now, and halfway houses, rehabs, all that, you know, we address that on a regular basis.
All right, well, we've got a motion on the floor in a second.
Madam Mayor,
Yes,
I'll take a crack at this.
Vice Mayor? I knew you couldn't resist.
Well,
You know, I've issued this challenge in the past. I've heard these trips referred to as vacations.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've challenged folks. I say, you know what, you all think this is a vacation? Tell you what, let me know, you want to go with me? I'll pay for your trip. And you will surgically be attached to my hip. You'll get up at 5 o'clock in the morning like I typically do when I'm away. And you'll run from meeting to workshop, from workshop to meeting. And you'll do that until about 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. And do that for 5 or 6 days straight. But you will be surgically attached to the hip while we're doing it. Then you can come back and you can tell everybody about how much of a vacation it was to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning so you can attend all these things. You know, it's very difficult. There's a wealth of information that's available out there. And you know, if there is a criticism to be levied against these conferences, my criticism would be that there is so much information that overlaps in terms of the time slots of the day. It's impossible. Sometimes there'll be 2 or 3 good things going on at the same time and you can't get to them. You know, to say, well, what is your goal? You don't really know what your goal is until you've experienced what they're offering. The whole purpose of this, first of all, one of these conferences in and of itself is not an event. It's not a be-all, end-all. You don't go in, it's not like an information dump where you go and they plug you into something to give you all these wonderful ideas, you can bring it back and implement it. That's not how it works. Many of the concepts that are discussed, many of the workshops are all part of ongoing discussions that have been going on for years with collaboration from organizations, private sector, public sector, and governments around the country. So, you know, if there's ever something that's earth-shattering that we can really implement in this city, by golly, I'm gonna be the first one to wave the banner. But like I think Commissioner's already said, there's a lot of things that we take it in, and you don't hear about it, but it goes through the city manager, it goes to one of the department heads, and you don't really realize what the genesis of it was. You know, I don't like the idea of a dog and pony show. You know, when you know, if somebody goes away for a conference or something, because, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Benefits in the eye of the beholder. You know, so for any one of us to come back and give a presentation, you're gonna half the people are gonna love it, and the other half the people are gonna hate it. Half the people are gonna appreciate it, the other half aren't gonna appreciate it. So it's really, as Commissioner Zerdi and Commissioner Amoroso said, if you are really that interested in the format or the content of these conferences or whatever, if you wanna pick the classes for me, pick the classes for me.
we'll
Okay.
meet.
Pick the classes for me. I don't care. If you have a specific thing, like I think it's already said, if you've got something that you really think is important, we'll sit down and talk about it. And you know what, you'll be surprised what you and I will talk about prior to making that decision. You may decide, you know what, maybe it is better to take a different one. I'll take whatever you want me to take. I'll absolutely take whatever you want to take, but, you know, I just.
I'm gonna tell you what to do.
No, I think, I get really upset, and I'm not gonna, it is offensive to me, absolutely offensive to me on many, many levels, for people to refer to these as vacations.
I know, well, it's just that we've cut the budget, we spend a lot of our own personal money to do
Absolutely.
these things, like,
And that-
because the
that's
training
something
doesn't
I
even
never- And I never talk about
get
that.
covered.
I never talk
Whatever,
about unreimbursed expenses.
I remember we worked in other jobs before that, for training purposes, is, we need to learn these things to run government. Some of the things we're learning, especially in the first couple of years, were so helpful. And being around people that have done it and giving you, we're running a big organization.
Just real quick, and on behalf of the citizens, you have two separate realms of the spectrum going, because we do not, very seldom, find ourselves attending the same meetings because of our political views and some of our thought patterns. And I just wanted to make a comment, from a financial standpoint, I'm a small business owner, and when I take 5 or 6 days away, it costs me a lot of money, because I am paying someone to cover my shifts. So I would not be going unless I thought it was a huge investment on behalf of the city and the citizens, and that there would be a benefit. Otherwise, I would stay and not have that expense.
All right, let me talk to her. Okay, thank you. We've got a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor?
Fine.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. You two have been appointed. Item 12B, legislative priority